New Jersey to Las Vegas, New Jersey Raider Nation coming to you live.
The autumn wind is a pirate,
Getting a little controversy around the NFL.
blustering in the sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash.
What's going on? It's NJ Raider Nation here, and it's been a very busy couple of weeks for me, so I haven't been able to put out my weekly fantasy update, but I have been putting it up on Twitter each week. I just haven't been able to get a video out, but in this video we're going to do a quick recap of week 3 to week 7. It is now week 8 in the NFL season. It's flying by, but the Raiders are entering our bye week. And I've had so many people say, what are you going to do on your bye week? What are you going to do on your bye week? I'll let you know at the end of the video what I'm going to do. But we are sitting at 2-5 and last in the league. But we started strong the first 2 weeks. We had those 2 surprising wins, and I was really surprised. But you know, it evened itself out. Other fantasy teams are starting to build up using the waiver claims and everything. And you know, as an all Raiders fantasy team, we can't interact with the waivers and the free agents out there. So we're just stuck with this. But overall, the players haven't done that bad. I mean, Carr's having a great season. He's had a total of 133 fantasy points. But, you know, when you compare that with Brady and Josh Allen, those guys are producing a lot more. But if we look at the 2021 season, total fantasy points as a team, 692. And an average of 105 per week, which actually is very good. It's not very good, but it's good. But that's why we're not winning every week, because teams usually put up like 120 to 130. But if you catch someone on a bad week and the Raiders win and the players individually play all right, then that's when I have a chance to win. But since week 2, I haven't really been close. But let's take a look at the week to week. So go to scoreboard and start with, real quick, we'll go week 1. We had a total score of 127.6. Then week 2 we won with a score of 109.38. Then week 3, we'll take a look at the box score. I'm only going to go over week 7 in detail, and then I got some highlights and stuff from when we beat the Eagles this past Sunday. But I just want to show you what they had, fantasy points. So 125 to 136, about an 11-point difference. You could pause it if you want to look at someone individually. Let me go back to scoreboard. We'll go to week 4. 120 to about 57. We got killed this week. This is when we played the Chargers, and our team just didn't look good. But moving on to week 5. When we played the Bears, and this was another big L for the Raiders, so fantasy is not going to produce anything then. 64 to 195. Even if the Raiders had the best game of their life, I don't think we would have competed with that. Week 6, this was another close one on our end. The Raiders got 123 points, which is, I mean, it's up there, it's pretty good, but my opponent just killed me with 168. But team didn't play that bad that week. 123 is definitely up there to compete on a normal week. But now, looking at week 7, just this Sunday, we played the Eagles. We ended up with 98.82, and my opponent got 139.44. Now, I did make one error. Darren Waller was a last-minute decision, and he was ruled inactive. And I should have thrown Foster Moreau in, who ended up with 18 points. He had that touchdown, and I think he had 60 yards. So I messed up there not putting him in, but it wouldn't have made a difference. We still would have lost. But I definitely want to make sure, you know, I want to be up to date with everything. So that was my mistake. Try not to have that happen again, but either way, we would have lost. So let's take a look at the individual matchups. So of course I have DC, and my opponent had Jalen Hurts, which is always fun to see the team we're playing, the individual matchup. And actually, Hurts ended up on top with 23.44 fantasy points versus Derek Carr's 18.92. But with that said, Derek Carr had one of his best games of his career. He finished with a 91 point something percentage completion percentage, completing 31 passes out of 34, which is incredible. A lot of deep passes too. It's not like they're all just check down simple passes. I mean, he had a couple really nice passes, really nice leads. His accuracy is incredible. He's getting the recognition he deserves. So and I care about that. I think as a quarterback, it's tough because people hate you, people love you, and the media, national media, it's their job to stir the pot, but they're on his side right now, so it's nice to hear what they have to say. Going down the list, Josh Jacobs, 15.4 fantasy points. Every time he plays, he's been questionable, but every time he plays, he gets at least 10 fantasy points. And he's not having a huge rushing season in terms of yards, but he is doing really well with touchdowns. I mean, he's very consistent with touchdowns. Let's look at this. So we have the first game, 2 touchdowns, then we had 0 in the Charger game, and then 1. So just one game this season that he played in that he didn't have a touchdown. So the consistency with touchdowns is pretty nice to see. And then with Drake, since Gruden has been gone the last 2 weeks, he's really seemed to fill in the spot that everyone thought he would have. They're really going back and forth. It's a 1-2 punch with Jacobs and Drake, and it's working out really well. They're splitting the touchdowns, splitting the carries. Actually, this weekend, Drake had 14 carries to Josh's 6. But Josh he was a little banged up, but still, I mean, Drake is a very nice compliment to Jacobs, and both Bama boys, so I think it's a really nice dynamic, and I'm glad that we're starting to use it. Now, Ruggs had a quieter day than a couple of the other games this season, but he finished with 4 catches for 24 yards, so nothing crazy out of Ruggs, and Bryan Edwards actually stepped up in place of Ruggs for 3 catches for 43 yards, but he did end up with a touchdown. But, this average, look at these average yards. Average yards per catch is 20, 13, 29, 4, 11, 33, 14. I mean, if you can go above 10, that's gold. That's good. But he's doing that on 6 out of the 7 games we've played this season. He's had a average 10 plus yards per catch. That's really good. And then moving on to Darren Waller, like I said, messed up. I forgot to take him out. Hunter Renfrow, always coming in clutch. He had over 50 yards, 58 yards on 7 catches, finished with 12.8 fantasy points. And then the defense position rank is 15 on fantasy points. And, look at our stats. 18 sacks on the season, 5 fumble recoveries, 4 interceptions, 1 safety. The only thing we haven't done is got a touchdown with our defense. Maybe we'll get a pick 6 or a fumble recovery, ran back for a touchdown in the next couple of weeks. But in Sunday's game versus the Eagles, we did have the 2 fumble recoveries and the 2 sacks, both by Yannick Ngakoukie. It was nice to see him get in there. Him and Max are just constantly complimenting each other on both sides of the D-line. That pressure, I wouldn't want to be on the other side as quarterback. But they're going crazy. So moving on, Daniel Carlson finished with 10 points. He had 3 out of 4 extra points made and 2 total field goals within 39 yards. So Daniel Carlson's one of the most consistent players on the team. That 1 missed extra point off the upright was a bit weird, but hey, it happens to everybody. Moving on to the bench, Willie Snead just came out. Big news today. Willie Snead was released, so good luck to him. Zay Jones had a couple catches. He ended up with 5.3 yards. He had a big catch on the right sideline. Yep, so that 1 catch was for 43 yards, and it was a very important one. I believe it was 3rd down. And then Foster Moreau, like I said, I should have put him in. He had 6 catches for 60 yards, averaging 10 yards a catch, and he ended up with a touchdown. And it was a really nice grab, and good for him. He's a great player, and he will be a great player, and I hope he loves being a Raider, because being behind a superstar like Waller, it's tough because you're not going to get as much play as you would maybe on another team. Darren Waller was out. Foster Moreau got the start. A lot of people are saying we'll see how this offense goes without Darren Waller, and we played really well. And a lot of that's because Foster Moreau is an excellent tight end. It's awesome that we have 2 awesome tight ends. So Alec Gingold, he had the one really clutch catch as well for 29 yards down the left side of the field. He just slipped right out of there and was wide open, and Carr delivered, so that was nice to see. And then Peyton Barber, Nathan Peterman, they didn't play at all. And so the bench finished with 27.2 points, but if I had Foster Moreau in, add that onto the 98, we would have finished with 116 fantasy points. But again, that wouldn't have competed with my opponent's total score. But let's drop Willie Snead, since he was confirmed to be released today. We don't need him, and he's not a Raider, so he's not going to be on the All Raiders fantasy team. So looking at this week's matchup, it's the Raiders bye week. We're projected 0 points. We're going to get 0 points. I'm not adding anyone. This is the All Raiders fantasy team, and it's our bye week, so it's my bye week in fantasy too. I'm going to get a big old 0, but I will have a video out next week where I'm going to track a couple of the top ex-Raider players that are still playing as if I drafted them. I'm manually calculating it. I just want to see what the total fantasy points would be. Just a fun way to, put out a video during the bye week. We'll see what the total points end up, because I think it'll be interesting. So I'll have that out next week. So, and then after that, we're back to the standard All Raiders fantasy team, just running up the points. Hopefully one of my opponents mess up soon. It's pretty much the only way I get a shot to win. So we're 2-5, and we're 5th of 5th, but overall we're in last place as well, number 10. And the final standings projections has us in finishing in 10th. So the new goal for the rest of this season is to at least finish above 10th, so 9 or higher. That would be ideal. That's what I'm going for, but it's not looking good. It's really tough to win, as you guys can see. It's so funny starting the season 2-0. Felt really good. I felt like maybe this would be easier than I thought, but even when the Raiders play really well, it's just hard to compete with teams that have all the right players to get over 150 fantasy points. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep trying to update. I'll always update on Twitter, and I'll keep trying to make videos to update it. It's fun for me. I've just been really busy the past couple weeks, but hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next week for the special edition of the All Raiders fantasy team on bye week. NJ Raider Nation out.